welcome. You're watching Last Tick on Money9, India's first multilingual platform for personal finance from TV9 News Network. I'm Sakshi, Batra, and on this show, we get you all the updates from the markets and the trading day's action for you to help you understand how did the markets perform in the today's trading session, as well as to understand what really moved the markets and the factors that you should keep in your mind for the market trade in tomorrow's trading session as well as in the week to follow as well. Let's quickly take a look at the closing level of the benchmark indices and the broader markets as well. Well, what opened with a gap up could not sustain yet again. It was a repeat of the days that we have seen in the past few days and the trading sessions as well. What caused the fall in the markets is something that we will discuss, but let's first take a look at the kind of sharp fall that we have seen today. Fifth consecutive day of losses for the Indian benchmark indices. The Sensex shut sharp with 585 points of losses as it has given up all the gains that it had, erased the gains that it had during the trading session. It slipped down from the high of say 50,296 and it closed at 49,216. That's a loss of over 1.17% today. Now, Nifty 50 also slipped more towards the second half of trading session. Over a percent loss for that one. 163 points gone there. 14,557. That's the level at which the Nifty 50 shut sharp. Also, the Nifty Bank, that's as well a place where, we've seen another mark, another level of 34,000 also gone on the Nifty Bank. We've seen it slipping from the levels of 37,000, 36,000, 35,000, and now that level has also been breached on the lower side, 33,856. So the losses in the financial and the banking space are far and wide. 372 points cut for that index as well. And the mid-cap and small-cap indices also lost too much. In fact, if you see, the losses have come in largely from the small-cap index, which has lost about 1.5% in trade today. It has underperformed the markets, 20,386. That's the level at which the BSE small-cap was trading at during the close of today's trading session. The mid-cap sector also lost about 266 points. That's over a 1% lower in today's trading session as well. Moving on to see how the sector has really performed, and if you see, there are some stocks, especially when you talk about big wigs like Reliance Industries, you talk about stocks like, say for example, it was most of the banking majors, they also lost a lot of ground in today's trading session. Financial stocks were the biggest drags in the markets today. However, if you see on the contrary, if you see the sectoral moves over here right now, you can clearly see that there were just two indices that have actually managed to stay up in the green despite the overall weakness in the markets, and that was led by the FMCG sector and the metal space as well. Now, what worked for the FMCG sector is the stock of ITC that managed to pull up towards the close of the session at about 4% gains despite the overall weakness in the markets today. Now, what really had pressured markets and the put pressure on the benchmark indices today was clearly one index, and that was the Pharma Index. A whole lot of stocks slipped into the red, including stocks like Dr. Reddy's, Divi's Laboratories. They all lost ground today. And, health was also seen losing out from the PSU banking space, from private banking space, 1.5 to 2% lost over there. Realty index lost about 1.5% in trade as well. 3% downtake for the IT index. Now, what was rising in early morning trade, stocks such as Tech Mahindra, Infosys, HCL Technologies, all of them holding up. And so far in this month of March, we have seen the IT stocks really perform well. But that's where the crack is really coming in from. And you can see a over 3% cut for that index as well. Moving on to see the gainers and the losers at this point in time. Now look at ITC, Bajaj Auto, Hindalco, Grasim and Bharti Airtel. These were the gainers. They helped the stemming the losses for the markets towards the close of the session today. As far as the laggards are concerned, you talk about stocks from the IT space like HCL Tech, Infosys. Both of them lost about 3.5% in trade today. Divi's, Dr. Reddy's and Hero MotoCorp, the other laggards in the Nifty pack today. Now, what did not work for the markets? Let's actually look at the factors that were, that helped the markets, that were behind the losses in the markets today. Bond market revolt. US bond yields once again have surged sharply over 1.7% today, and that really dampened the sentiment towards that 1 o'clock mark, when we saw the markets really giving up all those gains. Even though we say that the markets have pulled up towards the close of the session, from the lowest point of the day, they have still lost over 1% in today's trading session. Of course, the rising US bond yields had an impact in the US futures as well. So majority of the US markets in futures, they started to reflect the red screen on in the kind of movement that they were showing. So that kind of a reflection may have have on the overnight trading session as far as the US markets are concerned. So keep an eye out on for the global market cues as far as the US markets are concerned. Of course, domestically, it's the second wave fears that have dampened the sentiment again. Remember, we have seen 35,000 kind of numbers coming in for the fresh COVID-19 cases. So that's again triggering fears of, a fresh lockdown maybe in several parts of the country. Even in Noida, where we are placed at on Money9, we will tell you that over here also news came in early in the morning that Section 144 was imposed in the, in the city of Noida. So all of those concerns are actually brewing up, fears in the minds of investors, saying that probably the Sensex and the Nifty and the kind of bull rally we have seen may be actually, creating a bubble for itself and may actually just burst any time as well. Moving on to see the IPO update, that's where the money is really going in. You can clearly see 2.5 times subscription for Kalyan Jewelers. The IPO will close today. So strong response over there. Another IPO that you should keep an eye out on should be these two majors such as Nazara Technologies. The IPO has already got an overwhelming response. It got oversubscribed right in the first few hours of opening yesterday. Today, almost 10 times so far it has got the subscription of, and the IPO will close tomorrow. Now, another IPO that you should keep an eye out on is Suryodaya Small Finance Bank. The issue has been subscribed 82% so far, and the issue will close on March 19th tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that one as well. What will the markets be looking at for tomorrow? Of course, the US bond yields, how they perform, do they cool off from here, which will be a breather for the markets. If they rise further, there could be some more trouble coming in for the global markets. Global cues will be important to track, just like how we are seeing that the US market futures were actually indicating a sea of red. But how does that culminate into the real action overnight? That's something that we'll need to watch out for. FII flow, does that have any respite in the Indian markets? Will they buy, in the Indian markets, provide the support in the Indian markets that they need at this point in time? And of course, the update on COVID-19 cases and any kind of indications of lockdown will definitely not be taken up well by the markets, which are penciling in some kind of recovery as we approach the 1 year of lockdown. And you'll clearly see all the coverage happening of that on Money9 as well. So we'll wrap it up at that point, but a whole lot of action is remaining to be unfolded. So stay tuned with us if you want to know about what really matters in the personal finance front, coming up right next on Money9.